Hello. Goodness, what time is it? It must be past the 12th hour. What are you doing out so late? Especially in this area. You were visiting a nymph? Right. Okay. Can I help you with something, or did you already visit your nymph friend? She said you'd find a tavern here. Well, you're going to be looking for a while. There's not a tavern in the middle of the pass. You have to go to either side of it. You do know where you are, right? Not familiar with the area, but you are familiar with nymphs. That's special. You're in the Branstow Pass. You do know what that is, at least, right? Right, the only gap in the woods, and the trees, and the mountains, the giant mountains out there that'll very quickly tell you where you're at. That pass. Okay, this is an inn. If you need a place to stay, I could get you a room, or... That would be lovely. Okay, let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Just need to find it underneath all of my papers. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just looking for the index of all of our rooms to figure out which ones are available for you tonight. And what? Well, yes, our shared guest houses do have fireplaces. I suppose it is a little chilly. We do have the fires going tonight, but if you're concerned about warmth, typically an extra blanket would suffice. We can provide those. Do we have any private rooms with fireplaces? No. No, we don't. What are you, a warden? Or something expecting that level of comfort? You're going to have to go to someplace like Caradorn Keep for that level of sophistication. Well, you are in the pass. You know, the giant mountain range that it takes to get to either side. Yeah, the only place you can pass through. So we're not exactly, top quality service out here, if you catch my meaning. Does my room have a fireplace? I can't tell whether or not you're being cheeky, or you're trying to take my room, or you would like to rent my room for the evening. Okay, this has taken a very strange turn. No, you may not rent my room, and if you are not going to rent a different room, I suggest you leave. You interrupted my work here. Well, yes, I am currently doing my work here by assisting you, but I have other work, other studies I'm attending to as well. It is after midnight, and I wasn't exactly expecting anyone to need a room at this hour, so other work. Listen, are you going to rent a room or not? You are. Great. How about I get you situated there? Oh, yes, this is a map of the region. Can you see it? Are you going to try to take it? I don't think so. Oh. Because you don't know your way very well. That much is obvious. Listen, I'm really just trying to get through my shift here. Unless you can solve a very complicated question about whether or not a forest existed several hundred years ago, then I suspect that... I'll let you humor me. By all means, be my guest. When do you think the Direwood Forest appeared? Well, you would be incorrect. It has not always existed. So, you can't help me then. We'll get you a room. You're from Havenmore. You're actually from Havenmore. And even you thought the Direwood Forest has just always been there. See, this is what I am talking about. I have looked over map after map after map after map, and every single one of them, up to a certain point, all corroborate that the Direwood Forest exists. I mean, how could they not? Trees several 100 feet tall, animals, creatures that can't be anywhere else taking refuge there. It's kind of a big deal, but then you get to a certain point, and poof. It's like it didn't exist at all before that. Which is crazy, and then you dig in deeper and you look for any reason as to why that is, and it's just like someone completely wiped it from the record book. Like, I cannot find a single scroll, a single map, a single volume. I can't even find a mage today that knows why that is, and I'm so frustrated. Oh, well, it matters because when I'm not working here at the inn, I'm a cartographer, a map maker. And not to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm pretty good at it. Working here at the inn, especially in the Brandstow Pass, gives me a really unique ability to talk to all the different travelers and adventurers that go from one side of the continent to the next. So I have made it my goal to make the most up-to-date and complete map in existence. I'm able to get my hands on all different sorts of maps and scrolls to corroborate from different times before, which is why I'm having the issue with the Direwood and Havenmore, but would you like to see it? It's not complete yet. I've still got a lot to fill in. I'm a little afraid to add the forests, and especially with this Direwood incident. I mean, if I can't find evidence as to its existence before, and it all makes sense as to when it appeared, I'm not really sure I can trust the other forests either, but I can show you. Okay. You'll have to excuse the mess. I wasn't exactly expecting customers after the 12th hour. Stranger things have happened, of course, but I digress. Is there anywhere in particular you would like to see on the map today? No? Alright, well then, I suppose the best place to start is where we are right now. If you look here, on the east side of the map, to the mountain range that spans this whole area. Separating the land, there's one particular pass-through. Certainly you could make your way over different mountain areas or through rivers or different caves and tunnels and such underneath them all, but this, the Brandstow Pass, that is the easiest way to travel back and forth. Many travelers, I'm told, will go so far as to come through the waters here, to cross back and forth instead of taking the pass over the mountains, due to how treacherous they can be or just how many different creatures they're not used to dealing with. Our little inn is located just about here, right underneath this smaller ridge. We like to stay closer to this wooded side over this more desert side. There are many sand dunes on this end. As I'm sure you know, this here is the Sun Basin Desert. No, I haven't had too many travelers with a lot of experience with the Sun Basin. Every tale they bring seems more treacherous than the last. I haven't been able to mark much of it due to that very reason. I I know of the huge, sprawling town that takes over this side, the beautiful coastal trees and markets filled with amazing colors. But no one has given me enough information to properly map it, so I'm holding off until I can get my hands on some more details. This section here has a particularly unique history in that the name has changed so many times, and if you ask anyone over a certain age, they'll tell you a different answer, but from what I can tell from modern-day travelers, it does tend to commonly be referred to as Merind. Now that derived from Mer-Ind, which derived from Merfolk Ind, and I think originally it was called Merfolk's Tale, but so on and so forth, it just kind of changed and grew over the years. Moving past Merind and all of its little dotted islands and inlets, and the sprawling market down to the east. There's a mysterious island down here in the corner you see. I left it unmapped because, well, from what I gather, it tends to be constantly shrouded in cloud cover. Few have gone there and back, and certainly no one in my lifetime. And if they have, well, I don't think they're traveling all the way back to my little inn to tell me about it. There are stories, of course, different tales, but I'm not sure I can trust any of those accounts. Maybe one day I'll get my hands on something that can give me more details of this location. Moving up the map, past the market down in the east, we come back to the sun basin. I know some sand dunes dot the land, but I want to get better mapping of them before I just start tossing them down. If this is to be an exact map of our landmass, it must be perfect. No error must take place on this. No, I haven't had enough travelers come through. Most who live here choose to stay here, and most who live here choose to stay there. There are a few that'll go back and forth, back and forth. The adventurous type, I suppose. But no one lives here. Far too inhospitable. With too many creatures and not enough water. From what I gather of the tales the travelers bring to me, they prefer to travel all the way around Merind, up the mountain and through the pass that way, instead of crossing directly over and through. It's not all desert though. Once you get up to this zone, from what I have read, there tend to be large, endless grassy plains. But this area has mysterious charting. I know there are mountain ranges dotted along its coasts, and I'm told there's a citadel somewhere in the north, but I can't pinpoint its exact location. It is viewed to be, how shall I say, impolite to ask about this area due to the activities that take place there. Oh, well, I'm told by those willing to share their information that a certain sect of mages and believers in a certain kind of magic and a certain leader, they hide up in the citadel. I really couldn't get much further than that with any of them, no matter how many questions I tried. The more questions I asked, the more those individuals clammed up. It seemed as though they were either unwilling to tell me for my own benefit or unwilling to share so as to implicate themselves. One day I'll be able to chart that land, though. Would you like to go through the pass or over the waters? Through the pass, then. Very well. Coming through the Brandstow Pass, you'll find various different lakes dotting the ends of the mountains, and this particular mountain region is known to have several dwarven caves. We have many an adventurer come through here to stay, to hopefully get a peek at what's inside of those. Crossing the river, you reach Tifald. This region, from what I gather, is home to many cheery little settlements dotting the banks. Tifald is known to be home to many a seafaring folk. It's known to be one of the more calm regions in our land, with wide open rolling fields, dotted with little farms and settlements throughout. I believe the joke of Tifald is that, well, they couldn't find adventure within, so they had to go without, unlike many of the other regions who have more than plenty adventure within their own borders. If you're looking for a quiet life filled with peace and ease, Tifald is where I would settle down. It tends to stay out of political skirmishes as well. What with Wistfell being directly to the north, and Caradorn Keep being not too far away, Tifald keeps a low profile. Directly to the north of Tifald, we have our most industrious region and the seat of political power, which I'm sure you well know by now. Wistfell. Anybody who wants to be anybody goes here. Caradorn Keep is located directly in the middle, with lots of tiny little settlements. Well, maybe not so tiny, but many a settlement dotted throughout. It is the most densely populated of all of our land masses, with good reason too. With all the different waterways, it has access to all sorts of resources from the surrounding lands. The Wardens really couldn't have chosen a better place to pick their seat of power, I suppose you could call it. Yes, I've heard plenty about the Wardens. What with all the mages that pass through here and stay at our inn, I hear them constantly complaining. Well, from what I can gather, the Wardens, they were meant to help balance out power. Long ago, when the war at Stoldor's Grove took place, the Council of Wardens was formed, and, well, it has been that way ever since. I believe the intention was to ensure that nothing like that war ever occurred again, but over time, as things happen, it appears that the previous good intentions might have given way to some ill intent, and now it seems that the Wardens just like to keep some of the mages in check, and now it's also extended to the rest of us. between you and me, I think they overreach constantly. This land to the north here, this is Roanoke. My map has some of the best topography logged of this area, as this is orc land. I was fortunate enough to have an orc traveling through the pass, and I sat down with him, offered him an extra cup of mead, and he was happy to discuss his land with me. Said he was a bit homesick, poor fellow. I had him tell me in great detail all about its coastlines, its inlets, its islands, its mountain range. Not many people get to see the land on the other side. This island is, well, it's a bit uncharted. My orc friend did confirm for me, though, that there are brutally brittle cold winds pushing and pushing and pushing through past these waters here. And they reach the very most far north tip of Roanoke, making this particular coastline quite uninhabitable. Good for ice fishing, he said, but not much else. There are tales and legends of dragons that breathe fire so cold it'll break your bones, but I have yet to find any confirmation of such things. No one traveling through to our little inn has braved the cold and stormy seas to reach this place. One day, I'm told many a foul and terrible creature are hidden among these waters, so most sailors don't want to go there anyway. Back down here, just to the south of the true North Sea, this is Lemoore. It's a bit rockier in terrain than Tifald or Branstow are. The altitude makes it not as hospitable, not good for farming. Most that come from here are hardy fighters. Many a mage take their refuge under these mountains as well. Aside from that, I know little about Lemoore. Quite like Tifald, they tend to keep themselves, but in a much less peaceable manner. A little less friendly, if you catch my meaning. Those that travel here from Lemoore are not exactly the type to sit down over a glass of ale with me and tell me all about their home lives. And finally, we reach your home of Havenmore. Does it look accurate to what you know? Good, that's what I like to hear. I've gone so far as to even track the individual spires in Corsair's Cove, Stoldor's Grove, Fairpoint Port. Is the port as beautiful as they say it is? I'm told travelers from all different regions stop here first to sell their very best wares. I'm not much of a traveler myself, but I think if there's one place I'd like to see in this land, it would be Fairpoint Port. With Clearbell just to the east of it, Hillock to the southeast, and the Direwood Forest, or so I'm told anyway. I'm still so uncertain as to how on earth to track that. The Direwood, and now the Witchwood too, I have concerns about tracking and mapping. I don't even know how to get my hands on information that could confirm or deny. But you said you've seen it. The Direwood. I wish I could say that helped. I want to have my forests as accurate as I have my mountains. I've gone to such great lengths to make sure that I mapped this correctly. You can see here the triplet peaks. There's actually a funny story about when I mapped those. I was in possession of an ancient manuscript I was borrowing from the Citadel at the time. I wanted to corroborate the correct placement for the map of the triplets. I was working late, as I normally do, surrounded by candles because I couldn't see, and I knocked one over onto the manuscript. Thankfully, they're warded against fire and everything, but I don't think anyone was expecting someone to be so clumsy as to spill wax on the priceless ancient piece of parchment. They were not too pleased with me whenever I returned it and explained the wax stains, but now I work with all of my candles and lanterns, so that doesn't happen again, and oh my gosh, my candle is so much lower. I've just been babbling this whole time. And you've let me, you sweet thing. Oh my, how late is it? I was supposed to get you a room. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. You know what? You can have my room for the night. No worries. There's a fireplace in it. You can keep plenty warm. I've got an extra room in one of the bunkhouses I'll just stay in for the evening. No, you've been so kind. And I've just been rambling. Well, you've probably been exhausted from your travels. Yeah, I'm sorry again. Why don't I show you to your room for the evening, and hopefully you can get a few hours of sleep before sunrise. If you want me to, I can show you more in the morning, but no more tonight. I feel so poorly already. Okay. This way, let's go.